Welcome. I'm Cheryl Mitchell. I'm one of the members of the steering committee and the selection committee for the Hogan Award, which is an annual award given in honor of a spectacular Vermonter who really has brought community, entrepreneurship, data, and forward thinking to the forefront. And for the last 3 years, we've had an opportunity to give a $15,000 award to somebody that we feel really exemplifies those qualities. So my great pleasure today is to talk with Holly Morehouse. Holly, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely, it's great to be here.
Thanks. Who was the award recipient last year. And we're going to talk some about, I can tell you why the committee selected you, but I'll give you a chance first to talk a little bit about your work and the kinds of things that you're very interested in.
Great. Thanks. Well, I run Vermont Afterschool, which is a statewide nonprofit organization that was founded in 2009. I was one of the co-founders with a great group of partners to get that started. And it's all around looking at the time children and youth spend outside the school day and over the summer, and the opportunities and programs and supports that they have access to and exposure to during those critical hours. So we provide professional development, evaluation, statewide research, and policy analysis.
I think one of the things that was very compelling to the selection committee was that you use data in the way that Con used to use it. You're very rigorous about continuous quality improvement, but you have this amazing personal touch too. It seems as if everybody who talked about you said, Holly brings people together. She really helps us go deeper into our work and provides us with a sort of a structure for moving forward and making a difference in our communities.
That's really nice to hear.
Yeah. Can you talk a little bit about how you do that, or if you do that intentionally?
I do that intentionally, and there really isn't anything that I do or I've ever done that I've done in isolation. I think everything that I work on, or everything that we work on at Vermont Afterschool, is surrounded by, filled by, informed by partners and collaborators. And that, to me, is a lot of the fun in the work. I am a data wonk. My background is very quantitative. My doctorate degree is in community-based decision-making, but it was mathematical models for community-based decision-making.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it was actually trying to figure out how you put formulas around the value of information and the different types of information that you need to bring into a decision. So while I'm not doing the mathematical modeling in this job, a lot of the skills and information and philosophy and thinking behind that have carried forward with me.
Yeah. So that's fascinating, because I know you've been asked by the legislature and different subcommittees to think about this issue of how do we bring our communities more in line with the needs of our young people?
Yes.
Especially during the times when our regular K-12 schools are shut?
Yes, and resources are sparse, and the issue is critical. So we can't afford to mess around or miss opportunities, because we're talking about the lives of young people. And so the decisions that we're making, we need to know that they're based on research and data and information. And when we first started with Vermont Afterschool, I couldn't even tell you how many programs existed in the state. We didn't have one place where all that information was collected. So we had to start right there with just where things are. And we've moved on since there into measures of quality, measures of access, measures of opportunity, results-based accountability, in evaluating how our work is having an impact and is it having the right impact. There's a lot of different data pieces that come in, and I think data also helps bring people together when you can start to look at the numbers and the information that you're looking at and start to figure out. It kind of helps parse out what are the things that you actually agree on and what you disagree on. And sometimes it's surprising when you find that the thing that you thought
you think you're all in line,
wasn't the stuck point. It was actually something very different. So I think the use of data kind of helps you clear the field a little bit, so you can get it to the heart of the issues that are blocking change or progress.
So in addition to looking at how people use data and how they have a creative vision, which you obviously do, people have been pretty interested in you in particular because it seems as if you're bringing along a next generation of leaders, which was something that Khan did. Not, it was not well, actually, I think he worked with the Vermont Leadership Institute and some other places that were more formal, but also in his everyday relations with people. And we heard that you do that as well, and I'm curious if you could talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're trying to grow a whole new field. A whole new field around youth work and after school and expanded learning opportunities. And I have to take a moment really to just talk about that time outside the school day and how critical it is to the healthy development and academic achievement and long-term success of our children and youth. And the fact that when we look at where kids fall behind, it's not really while they're sitting in the classroom. It's outside the classroom over the summer when they have different access to different types of opportunities and adult role mentors and peers and exposure to exciting programming or hands-on learning experiences or work-based learning experiences. And I think the field that, not me alone, I think all of us together are trying to grow is how do you do that really well? How do you sit in the space between education and youth development and feed all those different aspects of what it takes to grow a young person into a strong, healthy, fully fledged adult. And there's plenty of opportunities for leadership in there, and we need that the new energy and the new ideas and the leaders coming up, and it has been a structural part of what we've been trying to build in the state and across Vermont after school, and finding different ways for people to feed their own soul and their own passion and also serve the field. And when that happens, it's really exciting to see.
Well, I have to say,
that
your talk when you accepted the award last year was it was stunning to me and to many, many other people who were there in the audience. And part of it was you were able to articulate so clearly a different vision of how elements of the community, but particularly the out-of-school hours and the institutions that are out of school. I think when you said in Finland they wish that each youth would have a hobby.
Yes.
On the face of it you think, what?
Yes.
That's really pretty strange. But as you talked, I was just blown away. And I know that you used part of your award to actually go back to Finland and learn more.
It was
Could
amazing.
you talk a little bit about what new have you learned, or what are you wanting to bring back?
Absolutely, so much. I think one of the things with the field in the U.S. that we have trouble with is even just the name, right? After school sounds like an afterthought, and the school day is extremely important, of course, but there's also these experiences that young people need to have around perseverance and self-efficacy and self-discovery and interacting with peers in an informal setting and learning from adult mentors and I mean anybody who's coached a team or volunteered with youth or done scouting or an arts program or taught a young person to do pottery or something, like that moment where it's in creation together, the different generations and that growth and that is such a huge part of development. And one of the things that attracted me to Finland actually is that they have a society-wide, it seems, fundamental understanding of the value of those types of experiences. And we hear so much in the education world about Finland for their education system.
Because the kids score better than
they
kids
have
anywhere in the world, but they only go to school for 3 hours in the morning?
It depends on the school and the kid, but yes, they have one of the shortest school days in the world and some of the highest test scores. And so a lot of educators from Vermont have gone over to kind of look at what are they doing in their school day, but my question was, what are they doing outside the school day that is also supporting youth autonomy, youth growth, youth ownership and learning, and youth development? And so I had gone as part of a national learning exchange over the summer, and it was just 5 days, and it was just Helsinki, and it was enough to whet my appetite kind of thing. And so with the Con Hogan Award, what that allowed me to do is plan my own 3-week in-depth experience and trip to make contacts in multiple cities, to travel throughout. My board chair, Barb Russ, went as well, so I had a colleague to travel with. We met with young people who were in leadership positions. We met with youth workers in a number of different cities and youth centers, and we met with people in city government, municipal government, as well as at the state level. And all across that is this idea, and actually it's one of their national indicators for youth, is, as you said, that every youth will have a hobby. Yeah. And what they're capturing in that, you know, when I first heard it, I was like, knitting, or what are we doing with this hobby, right? You know, stamp collecting. But really what they're talking about is every youth will have an interest. They will have some self-autonomy, because they'll know, like, this is what I like to do. I like to play in a band, I like to play soccer. They'll get themselves to these activities. They will have a social or a peer group that they're connected with, so it's got the social connectedness in there. They'll have adult role models and coaches. And so they've kept that as one of their youth outcome measures. And when I was over there, we were talking some about some of the changes in governments in Europe, and whether they'll move more right or more conservative. And I said, well, is this going to change any of your youth outcome measures? And actually the quote back was something like, no, you know, this fundamental critical issue of youth having hobbies is permanent. Wow. Like, that's what they said to me. Yeah. And so part of my dream is like, wow, what would it look like in Vermont if all of us collectively together thought about every single young person in our state and made sure that they had something like that they were interested in.
And you're launching a new opportunity for people to work together.
We are. Also based on a lot of the Finland work. Yeah. Finland defines youth as ages 9 to 29, which is actually beautiful because it opens up that whole age range. So what we've done is brought that back and are looking at, we have a coalition now, it's called VT 9 to 26. So it's anyone working with youth, touching on the lives of youth, mental health, physical health, employment, work-based, after-school, expanded learning, recreation, whatever aspect it is of young people's lives, in that range of 9 to 26. And we're united around professional development and quality, around communications and messaging, and around policy.
Well, I have to say, Holly, I was the lucky person who got to call all of your references last year, and people were just so delighted and grateful for the kind of work that you've been doing. One of our hopes is that other wonderful people like you will get nominated.
Me too.
And I'm wondering if you have any advice for somebody who's thinking about nominating someone else.
Oh my gosh, yes, please do it, make the nomination. I can't, this award was so special. It's so special for the recognition and for the message that it sends. I mean, when in working through change and tough issues, it's hard sometimes, right? And it's icky, and it's not that you need outside validation because you can pull from within and keep going, but to have this sort of moment of pause in my career to pick my head up and say, like, oh my gosh, someone noticed. You know, like, someone noticed the hours of the time or the struggle or the passion or the vision or whatever it is they noticed. And that meant so much. The event, having people there, paying attention, listening to what I was trying to share was just huge. So I think if everyone can, look around at those people trying to make change, trying to grapple with the gritty issues, the tough issues, and make that nomination.
Right.
And get that in.
I'm going to say, if you're listening today and you want to make a nomination, Kim's going to show a slide at the end about the Vermont Community Foundation. So it's an online nomination process. We've tried to make it easier over the years. I hope it's pretty user-friendly. But yeah, there's wonderful people out here, and Holly is an exemplar of.
Well, there's so many.
There are so many. That's the thing.
So many.
Yeah.
I could think
there's
of
a good
50 of them.
The other nice thing about it, I think, is that there's no strings attached to this award. So each of our 3 recipients has used it really differently. Each has been from a different, maybe, segment of Vermont community, but all share the kinds of just wisdom and enthusiasm and community building skills that you have. So, yeah, thank you for
Absolutely.
being our recipient this
Thank
year.
you.
I hope you'll stay involved, and
It's been a great year.
yeah, we're looking forward to you changing the world. So,
Well, it's been a great year. And I did want to mention, too, that the outcome of the award, both for the organization and for me, also continues to snowball in STEM, and that's something people should keep in mind as well.
It's great to know. Thanks, Holly.
Yep, thank you.